Following the announcement of its groundbreaking antiviral drug, we've seen a sharp move in the stock price of Merck over the last few days. So does this make it a buy, or actually has the market overreacted? Of course, with the coronavirus, breakthroughs in the pharmaceutical sector very much under focus and can get investors excited. And that's definitely what's happened with the stock price of Merck. For much of this year, it's just been pretty sideways, stuck in something of a range, bumping around on the lows around $70 to $72, struggling to get much above 80. But you can see the effect this announcement has had over the last couple of days. The stock had gone from about $75 to trade up near $85. So in this video, I'll talk a bit about this announcement, what it could mean for the stock price of Merck, and perhaps more importantly, does it make it a buy up here? Has this changed trading sentiment for Merck, or actually could it be something of a short-lived surge? I'll talk a bit about those now, then we'll come back and look at the charts in a bit more detail. Hello, I'm David Jones from Capital.com, and I thought this time around on the stocks channel, we do an update on the drugs company Merck. We've had some big news from them, big move in the stock price. What does it mean from a medium-term point of view? So I thought let's do a catch-up with what's been going on with those, then get onto the chart and look at the technicals in a bit more detail, because after some fairly sideways trading, it's been quite an explosive move, but more of that in a few minutes. As usual, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, if you could click on subscribe, it does help to support the channel. It means we can continue to push out lots of different content on various stocks throughout the week. Right, let's get into it and take a look at Merck in a bit more detail. So Merck as a company can trace its roots back to Germany in the 1600s. And it is, of course, an American multinational pharmaceutical business. It has been in the news lately, over the last week or so, due to its antiviral pill. And the reason this has grabbed so many headlines is because it could halve the chances of dying or just being hospitalized for those most at risk of COVID-19, the coronavirus. So clearly, it's something of a major breakthrough, and not surprisingly, we're seeing that translated into a big move for the stock price. Merck and its partner in this development, a company called Ridgeback Biotherapeutics, have said that they plan to seek US emergency use authorization as soon as possible, and then look at pushing it out potentially to the rest of the world. Now, this is being seen as another way of fighting COVID. Obviously, in addition to the likes of the vaccine, if people can take a pill, it's another part of the armory that we have against the coronavirus. Not surprisingly, well received by investors, this news. If we look back over the last week or so, we've seen the stock of Merck move higher by around about 14%. So is this something of a game changer of the stock? Are we going to see a new trend for Merck now? I think we do need to be cautious when reacting as investors to news like this, because clearly the news comes out, the market moves, and if there's no other news or no further updates for a while, the risk is that the stock price can perhaps drift back near to or back to where it was trading before. So I think just because good news comes out doesn't necessarily make the stock a buy right now. But we'll take a look at that on the charts in a second. Let's talk about some of the levels to watch first of all. The move up so far has traded as high as $84.50. That's the 4th of October high, which is only about $1 below the highs for the year. So January 2021 highs coming in around $85.50. Before that, there was lots of support ahead of 70, been bumping along this level. Perhaps a short-term support level to watch is $80, a psychological support if we saw the market sell off from here. But as usual, to put some color on these numbers, let's take a look at the charts and the technicals in a bit more detail. So let's catch up with the stock price of Merck. I've gone back to late 2019, early 2020. Of course, we saw stock markets fall as the coronavirus pandemic really started to spread. Then we saw a bounce back by many stocks. Merck was no exception. But then actually, since about April of 2020, we've seen the stock broadly sideways. We haven't seen much in the way of change, even actually given where it's trading now at the time of recording, around $83. That's pretty much where it was in April of 2020. So after 18 months, we've got a broadly unchanged stock price. Clearly a dramatic move off the back of this antiviral drug news. So I thought, let's take a look at things in a bit more detail. If we start off with the moving average, I think this does highlight really well, particularly from March of this year, the drawback of using moving averages in sideways moving markets, because the price and the moving average are so close together. This is a 20-day moving average. We do get various buy and sell signals as the price moves above and below the moving average, but they're just choppy and we see no real trend forming. The last signal we had, of course, because of this news, has ended up being a good one. That was when the price moved through about $73, $74 towards the end of September. Then, of course, we've had this news come out. So that has pushed the stock price a lot higher. That's been a good signal from the moving average, but lots of really poor signals over the last 6 months. If we take a look at the RSI, an overbought, oversold indicator, perhaps not too surprisingly, we've seen it move to an extreme, because we have seen, by Merck's standards, an extreme move in the stock price. This is the most overbought the RSI has been in the period we're looking at, so going back almost 2 years, because of the extremity of the move. So at the moment, the RSI is suggesting that perhaps the price has gone a little bit too far and we could expect something of a pullback. We'll see how that works out over the next few weeks. But I thought, let's take a look at the price action. Let's take a look, first of all, at this sideways range. I mean, we've seen an area of good support running from, let's call it around $70, near the recent lows in late September, through to about 72. That's been a good floor for the stock since April of 2020. But on the upside, it struggles from 84 through to about 88. And this perhaps is one thing that would make technical analysts and chartists a little bit cautious at the moment. Yes, we've seen a sharp move for the stock, and it's great for investors who are in on the move, but we're now pushing back towards the top of the range, top of the recent range over the last 18 months. So some may start to think, well, perhaps we're going to see some more profit taking coming in at these levels. I think it's going to be an interesting one to watch, but perhaps in the short term at least, the risk is for at least some of this move to be retraced. And we've had the big news out about the potential for this antiviral drug. So perhaps some of the excitement will cool towards the stock. I think if it did start to break through $88, then clearly we've got a breakout trade on. But perhaps for the more patient investor, the opportunity here may be to wait and see, does it sell off back towards near the bottom of that range, that sort of 70 to 72, 74 area, and is there a better entry point there? So it's been a great story over the last week or so. Great reaction by the stock, not surprisingly, but perhaps just a little bit cautious up at these levels, because historically, this is where the stock price has run out of steam. An interesting one to watch, though, in the weeks ahead. That's it for this update in Merck. We'll see how it trades as the dust settles down. We'll come back, do an update, and see if it's managed to push out to fresh highs for 2021. But for now, from me, David Jones, and Capital.com, we'll leave things there. Good luck with your investing. For more trading videos just like this, please subscribe to our channel.